questions, please type them into the chat room, because if they're on immigration advice, I will clearly be doing the webinar, so I'm not going to be able to look too much at the questions. But anybody that's giving immigration advice must be licensed, or at least provisionally licensed, as Desiree is. So if you've got any questions on the immigration process, just put them into the chat room and Desiree will answer them. And yes, thank you for everybody for joining us. Just to introduce myself, my name is Andrew Kerr. I'm the owner and director of Network Migration Services, both in South Africa and also New Zealand. And I'm a licensed IAA registered immigration advisor, and I've been licensed now, about 14 years. I think it's been mandatory to become licensed. And on that particular subject, you'll see my license number on the first slide there. And I'm a member of the New Zealand Association for Migration and Investment, which is a governing body that sort of looks after us licensed advisors, LIAs as we call them, and also the the processes of lobbying government, of course, for the side of the migrants that are coming in. So Andrew Kerr, I'm living in South Africa. I'm a Kiwi. You can possibly hear that from my accent. I lived in New Zealand for 20 odd years, Australia for 10 years, and I came to South Africa in 1990 with a separate company and on a 2-year contract. And after that 2 years was up, I joined Network Migration Services in 1993, and I had an opportunity to buy the company in 1996 for South Africa, and I did. And I'm very proud to say that in the last 30 odd years, we've successfully immigrated. It must be around 17,000, 18,000 families now. Up until 5 or 6 years ago, it was predominantly out of South Africa, but with technology today, with the fact that we can speak to anybody at any time of the day or night, on anything from Teams, Zoom, Skype, Google Meet, et cetera, Zoom. I think I mentioned that. We've literally got clients all over the world, as far away as Canada and China, and of course on the other side of the world in Ireland and the UK. So welcome to everybody listening to me tonight. It's going to be very quick tonight. We're going to knock this over in about 30 minutes. I'm going to get straight to the point quite quickly. I just wanted to say thank you, as always, to our service providers. I will explain what some of their logos are on the front page there. Apex Advice is based in New Zealand. They give all our clients that land wonderful advice on everything from investing or doing a will through to buying a home. Animal Travel, of course, Bidoffs. We were at Bidoffs last Saturday. Thank you to Julie and her team nationally for always being there for us. We did our particular face-to-face seminar in Durban. We had a couple of hundred people booked for that one. And the next one is in Cape Town at the Bidoffs Centre, which is next month. And if you want to find out where that is, I'm literally flying into Cape Town on the Saturday through March. Just email myself or Ruan. All our emails are our first names at networkmigration.com. So Ruan at Network Migration, Andrew at networkmigration.com, Desiree at Network Migration, etc., etc. So just going back to that, we're doing monthly seminars now in Bidoff centres all over the country where people can literally come and meet us. They are free. They start on a Saturday morning at 11 a.m. I just can't quite remember the date now. Rowan, you might want to type that in for those Cape Townians or down that part of the world that are listening to us tonight. I can't remember the date, Rowan, and I can't look at it now, but you might want to type in when the date is in Cape Town. So the next one's in Cape Town, and the next one after that is back in Pretoria and Joburg. So we're doing them twice a year in every venue. And it's a face-to-face one, so you can get to ask a lot of questions, a lot of time, and myself, CEO from Point to Point Capital, Evan Brown is there as well. And we talk about the rules, regulations, processes, costs and timeframes for immigrating, not only, of course, your furniture, but also your pets and also your money. So thank you, Des, for putting that up there. So Des will, as Desiree's just said, she will answer any specific questions on migration tonight. Just be careful, guys, out there. Please use a licensed advisor. If you're doing New Zealand, you have to. It's law. You cannot give immigration advice if you're non-licensed advisors. And, of course, some people do. There are companies, one or two companies in Africa that just work on the borderline. They allow non-licensed advisors to do the initial immigration consult. That's highly against the law. And, in fact, if those people, thank you, Ruan, if those people were in New Zealand, they'd actually be arrested and behind bars. So the next seminar in Cape Town is Saturday, the 16th of March at 11 a.m. in the morning. If you do want to book for that, you can either go onto our website and book, or just to send a separate email to Ruan or myself, and we can book for you. The spaces are limited, so if you are going to book, please turn up, because spaces are limited, and we do turn away people when of course we get full. So if you want to book, let us know. So as I've said, I'm just going to start running through the slides tonight about network migration. I've already told you we've been in the business for 33 years, licensed immigration advisors. We have 3 separate divisions at Network. One is my division, if you like, where because I'm a licensed advisor with Desiree Lindeque, we sign off all the applications, and we have a team of people that information gatherers, we call them file managers, that work with us and directly with the clients to just gather the basic information we need from the clients in order to lodge a successful application. And that doesn't matter what visa it is. I'll be showing you that in a second. There's not a visa on the planet that we can't do. I'm going to do New Zealand visa and points quite shortly, and then just discuss through the evening our relocation and partners. And if, of course, you've got a question, just type it into the chat room. The second division is our relocation division. That's actually run by Rose Nightingale. Rose is my partner in life, my wife, and Rose's division is things that link you with the service providers. So if you want flights, furniture, meeting at airports, accommodation, shifting funds, opening bank accounts, there's really not anything that we can't assist you with. We've been partnered with these particular companies for many, many years, and we're very, very proud to be associated with them. So those services are free. You just literally email Rose. Even if you're not a client, we can still help you by putting in touch with our service providers, because you don't have to be a client to use our service providers. Karina, no. Desiree will answer you on that one, but no, you don't. That's me a couple of years ago. New Zealand, land of the long white cloud. I just got back. In fact, I've been back about a month. Went to New Zealand over Christmas, saw Desiree and the team in New Zealand. Was really excited to see the team in New Zealand and my home country. I love my home. And I love the fact now that it's run by the National Party, and with no disrespect to the previous government, I think we needed a government change. In fact, I know we needed a government change, and so did most New Zealanders. So congratulations to the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Christopher Luxon and his team, and especially a special congratulations to the Right Honourable Erica Stanford, who is now Minister of Immigration and Minister of Education. She's the East Coast Bay's representative out of Auckland, and we're extremely happy that Erica is now in charge of immigration, because she's got some very positive ways of thinking, and will make decisions based on looking after not only New Zealand as a country, but of course immigrants as they're coming in. So we're very proud to be associated and working closely with the Right Honourable Erica Stanford and Immigration New Zealand. I'm going to go through the points just a little bit later, because I just need to talk about something else first. But as I mentioned earlier, there is just not a visa we don't do. I mean, be it skilled migrant, student, entrepreneur, business investment. By the way, entrepreneur and business investment into New Zealand at the moment just basically don't work. Immigration admits that. I sat with GM of INZ a few years ago, Nat Mackay, and Nat openly admitted that, they're well aware that the business visa needs a lot of tweaking, and that it didn't get done a while ago, and then of course COVID hit, so it still hasn't been done. But entrepreneur and business visas into New Zealand are extremely difficult to get, if not impossible to get. Credit employer work visa, we're going to be talking a lot about that tonight, but as I said, there is not a visa on the planet that we do not do. Visitors for job search is critical. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Spouse, of course, parent, permanent residency visas, etc., etc. Now, I just need you to listen to this, please. It's about 60 seconds. Just have a listen to this, and it just explains what I'm just about to explain to you.
Where no New Zealanders are available for a job, employers can hire a skilled migrant worker using the Accredited Employer Work Visa, or AEWV. Before inviting a migrant to apply for an AEWV, employers must become accredited with Immigration New Zealand and complete a job check for the role they want to fill. This means migrant workers can have more confidence about the role they're coming to New Zealand for. To gain accreditation, an employer must be a genuine business in a good financial position and have no recent history of breaching employment or immigration law or business standards. The job check confirms that the job pays the market rate, and the terms and conditions of the contract comply with New Zealand's employment standards. Before applying for a job check, employers need to advertise most roles to prove there are no New Zealand citizens or residents available for the job. After an employer's job check has been approved, you will be sent an email containing a link and a job check token. This means you can access the online portal and apply for your visa. The application process is all done online, where you will fill in your details and upload supporting documentation. Immigration New Zealand will check if you meet the requirements for the AEWV and that you have the skills and experience the employer is seeking. Once you are employed, your employer must provide you with information to help you settle into life in New Zealand and give you time to complete Employment New Zealand's online modules on employment rights while you are at work. The AEWV is designed to ensure only good employers can hire migrant workers and helps prevent migrant exploitation. More information about the AEWV is on our website.
So from moving forward from here, ladies and gentlemen, I would just suggest you take screenshots of the next few pages, either with your phones, of course, because everybody has one, or if you're sitting on your laptop, just take a screenshot of your laptop, because the slides moving forward are giving you an understanding, starting with this slide, of how that process actually works, and then, of course, how the residency process works moving forward as well. Just on this particular subject, I do believe there will be some positive decisions coming out of the Right Honourable Erica Stanford's Immigration Minister's office very soon. In fact, she's meeting with the New Zealand Association for Migration and Investment at the end of March. And I watched a TV show with her on TV New Zealand the other day, and she mentioned she doesn't want to, some of the new accredited employer process she likes, but some, of course, she doesn't. And you know, it's pretty much in agreement with most advisors, of the stuff that she doesn't like, which we all believe just doesn't work that well. So things need to be tweaked. But one thing that she did say on this television show, she didn't want to make a knee-jerk reaction, because she felt that the previous government, especially during COVID times, was making very quick, knee-jerk and uninformed decisions. And that led to things being half done and not completely finished. Which I can talk about just as we go through the evening in the next 15 minutes. But what I really did like about that is she's putting a lot of thought into some potential changes that she's going to make, and we're pretty au fait with what we believe those changes will be. So if you contact us for a consult or whatever, I'll sort of touch on them. I think I don't want to touch on them tonight. But, private one-on-one, of course, we can have a chat about what we believe is going on in New Zealand. And I mean, frankly, I've been doing this for 30 years, guys. So I've got a reasonably good understanding about how the process will work moving forward. So I'm going to give the webinar tonight based on the processes as they actually are. But some things might be made a little bit easier in the coming months moving forward. Just on that, I didn't mention at the very beginning, all our consultations and information we give you is free. Completely free. We are very happy you bleed us for the information and go either use another agent or go and do it yourself. All right. Everything that I'm telling you tonight is available on websites and is available in general information. What we will do is we'll simplify that for you, allow you to understand it in the common terms, or a common, we know what we're talking about because this is what we do for a living. All right. But, ask me to take apart an engine, a motor car engine, I wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing. And that's why mechanics are out there. So the important thing is to understand the processes. And if you want to consult with me or you want any information, if you email me your CVs, I will email you back everything, and it's free. It won't cost you a dime. The processes, procedures, the cost, the timeframes, a quote from us to do the processes on any type of visa you want. And then if you want to have a consult, I consult Mondays to Saturdays, either in my offices at Face to Face in Joburg. If you're in New Zealand, you can meet up with Desiree Lindeque, of course, at our offices in New Zealand. Or we can do Zoom, Skype, Teams, Google Meet. I've probably forgotten something. But there's so many ways to talk to you today, and all that information, in the future, and all that information is completely free. So do feel free to use us just for information. Whether you decide to engage our services down the line is completely up to you. So, accredited employer, you get the job offer with an accredited employer. And by the way, there's 28,000 of them. So it's not just a few hundred companies that have become accredited. There's currently 28,000 accredited employers in New Zealand. And over the last few years, immigration, you may have seen some articles where immigration went through the roof in the last couple of years. But as Erica Stanford pointed out, 41% of immigrants that went into New Zealand just after the borders opened in August 2022, just after, when New Zealand government opened the borders, were what we would deem lower skilled workers. And I'm not insulting potentially lower skilled workers, but fruit pickers, for example, and waiters and, and bar people, etc., especially in the hospitality sector. That's not really what New Zealand is looking for in the long term. And Erica has mentioned this quite openly. They want to see skilled workers, skilled by way of either your qualification or by way of the experience you've gained working in the industry that you're working in. So there are 28,000 accredited employers. So let's just pretend I'm Joe Blow and I've got a job offer today. And I've done my interviews with the accredited employer and they want to hire me. The accredited employer will then lodge the job token or job check application with immigration. That generally it's supposed to take 10 days. Currently it's taking about 3 weeks because they're just a bit inundated at the moment. So between 2 to 3 weeks for the job check approval or job check token to be approved by immigration. That is then sent to the employer, which is in turn sent to your agent or Joe Blow's agent and or you as an individual if you're doing this yourself. Once you receive the job token, we then load the applications into the job token portals. And once we've loaded, and they're separate portals, the main applicant has a separate portal to, of course, family and children. And they are approved in plus minus 3 weeks. Maybe it's 3 normally. At the moment, it's about 5. So the moment you accept a job, you're looking at the process taking 1 to 2 months before your visas are granted. So it's really fast, okay? So employer accreditation first, job check token done, visa application done, all done within a 1 to 2 month period. So the bottom line is if you're going to start seeking employment in New Zealand and you get it, you better be ready to go in 2 to 3 months because the employer knows when they employ you how long the process takes. New Zealand immigration is based on ANSCO codes. So ANSCO stands for the Australian New Zealand Standard Classification of Your Occupation. And what that means is if you're on an ANSCO, as you can see, an ANSCO 1 to 3, as long as you're earning a minimum of $29.66 an hour in most occupations, some are exempt, but in most occupations, then your visa will be granted. Now, that's not a lot of money. I mean, it is. It's the average wage, if you like, or maybe slightly above the average wage in New Zealand. But as you can see, $62,000 a year. And this is what I meant earlier. The ANSCOs 4 and 5s have to be earning $92,000 in order to be able to lodge a residency application. And of course, if you're working in a seemingly lower skilled occupation, there's no way you're going to earn $44, $49 an hour. So you get the job offer. We, of course, hold your hand through this entire process, including working with the employer to make sure the job token is accurate, the ad you've answered is accurate, because, ladies and gentlemen, quite often it's not. The job token doesn't marry up with the ad that was placed in the paper, not the paper anymore, on digital marketing like Seek or Trade Me or Indeed or, LinkedIn or whatever. So it sometimes has to be tweaked. So we work very closely with the employer and you. So making sure that it marries up like a hand in a glove. So, of course, when we lodge the application, it's going to be approved. This is, okay, so I'm going to talk about job hunting in just a second. I just want to get through the residency portion in a second, okay? When you get your work visa, it is normally going to be granted to you for 5 years. On your work visa, as long as it is a full-time job offer, and it's more than, in other words, full-time, it's not less than 24 months, you will still get free schooling and you will still get free healthcare. So you're sitting in New Zealand, you're on a 5-year work visa, you're still getting all the benefits, but you want residency. If you want residency, there are certain pathways to residency from the accredited employer work visa. One is if your occupation is on Green List Tier 1. Hopefully, you've already taken a screenshot of that page. As you can see, construction sector, engineering, health, social services, IT, electronics, and telecommunication. These were also added to Green List Tier 1, and as you can see, most of them are to do with the healthcare sector, counsellors, dentists, nurses, pharmacists, physiotherapists, social workers, etc. These are all on Green List Tier 1. So remember, you can lodge a work visa the moment you've got the job offer. However, if you're on Green List Tier 1, you don't have to lodge a work visa. You can lodge a residency visa straight away. Okay? There'd be more costs involved because you're going straight to residencies. but you are saving the costs of applying for the work visa for yourself, your spouse, and your children. So where you might be spending a little bit more, you're actually saving in the long run because you're not actually doing an interim work visa. But that's your call. We will give you the options. You get the job offer, and we're going to help you get it. And I'm going to tell you how we're going to help you get it in a minute. All right, but you get the job offer, and once you've got the offer, then we can say, right, are we doing straight to residency, or are we going work visa first, allowing you to go to New Zealand, build up a bit of cash capital, of course, and then we do the residency visa when you're on shore. So that's from Green List Tier 1. Green List Tier 2, remembering you've got your 5-year work visa. And on Green List Tier 2, health and social services, some of them, of course, trades, agricultural. On Green List Tier 2, you work for 2 years in order to gain or to be eligible to then apply for your residency application. By the way, this is what I believe Erica Stanford might tweak. I believe we're hearing that she might combine the green lists, but let's not talk about that at the moment because it has not been legislated. But clearly, if she combines the green lists, and therefore everybody on Green List 1 and 2 would have a pathway to residency, we're hoping straight away. These were added in March last year to Green List Tier 2. And it's the old work to residence visa where you got a job offer with an accredited, accredited work to residence company, and then you work for 2 years, and then you lodge residency onshore after 2 years. So remember, 5-year visas for both Green List Tier 1 and 2, but on Green List Tier 1, you can lodge residency as soon as you want to, straight away if you want. On Green List Tier 2, currently you're waiting 24 months after you're in New Zealand to lodge residency for you and your family. These are also being added to Green List Tier 2 next month, and I think this will also be tweaked because there's a couple of glaring omissions there, like hairdressers, for example, aren't on there. Riggers, for example, aren't on there. And I do believe all tradespeople, and hairdressers is one of them, and there's lots of hairdressers in demand in New Zealand. We get lots of hairdressers jobs, but these are being added next month to Green List Tier 2 if they haven't been added already, but I'm sure it's next month. Okay, now these are some roles that are exempt from the medium wage. And this is a bit of a weird one because if you get a job offer, well, you'll notice that, Ruan, by the way, these are the ones we needed to change because now metal fabricator and welder is on Green List Tier 2. So we just need to tweak these in the next week or so, if you don't mind, Ruan. I forgot to do that with you today. My apologies, and I know you asked, so it wasn't your fault. It was my fault. But anyway, if you're in, for example, if you're a tour guide or a hotel motel manager, or a wait or commercial housekeeper, or a hospitality worker in most things, you get the job offer. Remember, it only has to be at $28.18 an hour here, if it's in the tourism and hospitality, but you'll only get a 2-year visa with a 12-month stand down. So you've got to go to New Zealand, work for 2 years, and then leave for 12 months. I mean, that's insane. All right. And this is one of the things that the previous government brought in, which I don't think will stay into effect. But currently, that's the way it is if you're in an occupation on one of those. And hopefully you're taking screenshots of all this, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm not looking at the questions and answers. Right. So you're in New Zealand. You've either lodged residency from Green List Tier 1 and you're now a resident, or you need or you're waiting for 2 years because you're on Green List Tier 2, or you're getting residency based on the new simplified skilled migrant category, which came into effect on the 9th of October last year. It's been in effect for 5 or 6 months, or 5 months, October, November, December, January, 4 months. And then you'll get residency by getting either high income, a job which requires registration, or the standard qualification points test, and your work experience in New Zealand. So let's just jump to that. This is the medium wage as it's growing, the required medium wage as it's growing since 2018. Was on $24.99. It's now on $29.66. It was going to over $31 now, but one thing that the Right Honourable Erica Stanford did do is she canned it. Which I don't think she's going to keep the medium wage requirement. I could be wrong, but I certainly know she's not increasing at this point. So at the moment, the medium wage for getting full-time visas, in other words, visas that are valid to get you into New Zealand and have a pathway to residency, is $29.66. So if remembering, you need 6 points. If you're not on Green List Tier 1 or Green List Tier 2, then you need 6 points to be able to gain residency within that 5-year period. If you've got a doctorate degree, you get 6 points straight away. It doesn't mean you can apply for residency straight away, unusually. You've still got to have on all of these visas, by the way, all of them, you need a job offer. Every visa, green list tier 1, 2, points test, whatever, you need a job offer up front. And I'm going to talk about how we help you get that in just a second. All right, so level 10 doctorate degree is 6 points. You still got to work in New Zealand for a few months before you're allowed to lodge your residency. Level 9 is 5. Honours, of course, or a level 8 diploma is 4. And a standard level 7 or postgraduate certificate is 3 points. So if you've got a standard degree, you're getting 3 points straight away. Then, if you work in New Zealand for 36 months, you get 3 points. So you've got your standard degree, you've got a 5-year visa, you've worked in New Zealand for 3 years, end of the 3rd year, you can lodge residency, bang, it's granted. Or you might have an honours degree, then you can only have to work in New Zealand for 2 years because you're getting 4 points. Or you might have a master's, of course, where you're getting 5 points, which means you only have to work in New Zealand for 1 year. You also get points for earning at least 3, 2, or 1.5 times the minimum wage. 6 points for 3 times the minimum wage. Remembering the minimum wage is $29.66 an hour times 40 hours a week times 52 weeks a year. That's how you work it out. 2 times minimum wage or 1.5. For example, 1.5 times the minimum wage is $44.49 an hour. Okay, which is about $92,000 a year. So you can make up points. You might not have a degree, for example. You might be working in an occupation earning $100,000 a year. Well, that means you'd be working you get 3 points for the 3 years of living there and 3 points because, of course, you're earning 1.5 times the minimum wage. So that's how you can make up your 6 points, okay, by earning a high income or higher income. And if you're working in a job which requires registration, you can also get 6, 5, 4, or 3 points. And there are hundreds of them. I mean, have a look. Pretty much anything to do with healthcare, dietitians, etc. There, midwives, chiropractors, psychologists, nurses, pharmacists, physiotherapists, paramedics, social workers, teachers, vets, electricians, surveyors, cable jointers, mechanical engineers. There are so many ways to get licensed in New Zealand. I mean, you can carpentry license, chartered professional engineers licensing. So there are so many ways to make up that 6 points. So, and remembering you've currently got 5 years to do it. So you could become a certifying gas fitter, for example. When you're there, you might be a plumber, and then you, of course, do your gas certifications, etc. You get 5 points straight away. Chartered accountants, LIAs, licensed immigration advisors get 6 points straight away. Barristers, solicitors, etc., etc. Engineers, chief mates on boats, etc. Now, I'm going to just minimize this because I'm not sure if I've seen any questions. Oh, I can't see the questions now because I don't know what I've done, but hopefully I'm still here. I'm still here. Please let me know, everybody. I want to still be here. Hopefully I am. There we are. Just come back here so we can get back to the questions. Right. No, entire immigration industry is waiting bated breath for parent brief. Yeah, okay, cool. Sorry, I meant to say no diploma. Okay, cool. Right, okay. I'm going to finish this off by being very blunt, and please don't take it personally. If you're not prepared to travel to New Zealand to find a job, then don't start this process. Let that sink in. If you're not prepared to travel to New Zealand to find a job, then don't start this process. Why? Because there are 3 reasons this process will fail. You fail the medical. You fail the criminal record check. So, by the way, if there's a medical issue, you need to let me know about it. It's all private. It'll go nowhere else other than me. If there is a criminal record issue, you need to let me know about it because I need to advise you accordingly. Okay? It would have to be a pretty major medical issue, and I mean major, or frankly, a pretty major criminal charge for you to not get in on those 2. So the only other reason you're not going to get into New Zealand is because you don't find a job. Clearly, ladies and gentlemen, there are certain occupations where finding a job is a lot easier than other occupations. Let me give you 2. An early childhood teacher, a diesel mechanic. They're getting jobs left, right, and centre at the moment, wherever they are in the world, most of the time. But there are other occupations that don't get jobs offshore. They struggle to get jobs offshore. And that is pretty much 80% of all the rest. In saying that, with technology today and the way that we personally help our candidates, and I'll explain that in just a second, we're finding that in the old days, whereas maybe 1 in 30 people got a job without traveling to New Zealand, now it's probably 7 or 8. Well, no, let's say 5 or 6 out of 30 people that get jobs without traveling. And we're getting better and better and better at it all the time. What do I mean by that? We have our own recruitment company. We have our own in-house job search training and marketing division. We put a huge amount of emphasis on helping you find work. We will write your CVs. We will do your LinkedIn profiles. We don't charge you separately for those. They are part and parcel of our services. You might say, I don't want to use you for the visa processes, Andrew. I just want you to help me find a job. So we will charge you accordingly for the job search marketing and the job search training. We train you for up to 6 hours on finding a job in New Zealand, the rights, the do's and don'ts of how to do it. A lot of it's videoed so you can watch it, but we want to spend at least 2 hours with you face-to-face over Zoom, Skype, Teams, or face-to-face, talking to you about approaching the job market and the do's and don'ts of doing it and who you should approach. You'll then hand it over to HR manager, which is Liz Verleuen. Liz has not only got an honours degree in HR, she's also becoming a licensed advisor as we speak, and also runs our recruitment company. And it's Liz's job to work hand in hand with you to be telling you where you should be sending your CVs and also sending your CVs. So when you engage a company to do this for you, a lot of companies will purport to, yes, we have we'll help you find a job, and then they'll send you a few links, and when you find a job, come back to us type of scenario. Most of the other organizations out there have their own business model, and I'm certainly not decrying them for having a business model. But we have decided in our business model over the last 3 or 4 years to really push and help our clients get that all-important and essential biggest piece of this whole jigsaw puzzle, and that is to find a job. Now, Flanta, just email us, because how much is it for job search will depend on what you want. Okay, you're probably looking at a total of about $2,500 New Zealand dollars, which is about 30,000 Rand. Okay, to be straight up with you, but that depends if you want it all or just bits and pieces of it. So just send me an email on it, Flanta. You might have already done that, and I've probably already sent it to you, because our quotes are broken down. You might say, I've already got a job. I just want you to do the visa for myself. We'll quote you on that. You might say, well, I've got a wife and 4 children. I want you to do the visas. I've got my own visa, but I want you to do my wife and children. We can quote you on that. So there's not anything, terrible English, there's not anything that we cannot quote you on, clearly. So the point is, contact us, even if you're not potentially going to use us, you just want the advice, because I assure you, we take this extremely seriously. This is your life we're talking about here. And we will hold your hand for whatever you want us to, even if it's just you want some advice. Okay? So why I said to you at the beginning, if you're not prepared to travel to New Zealand to find work, it's because it's true. Because what we normally say is draw a line in the sand based around your timelines. So if you're saying to me, okay, Andrew, I want to be in New Zealand this year, then let's start now. But if you haven't found a job by May, June, then I'm going to ask you to get on a plane anyway. And we'll do a visitor's visa for you with specific purpose. Because when you come to New Zealand to look for work, you've got to tell immigration that's what you're doing. And you've got to show strong ties in your home country. So don't just log on to VFS and do your own visitor's visa thinking that it's going to be granted. A tremendous amount of visitors' visas at the moment are being declined to go into New Zealand because the people just don't do it properly. You're saying, I'm coming over there on a holiday, which is not true. Or I'm coming over there to look for work, but you don't supply them with enough information showing strong ties in your home country, because what New Zealand says to you is if you're not successful, what in your home country have you got to go back to? So if you don't have anything to go back to, they're not going to give you the visa. And of course, once you've got a rejection, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's over, but once you've got a rejection, you've got a little black mark against your name. So we don't want a rejection. So even if you just want help with the visitor's visa to go to New Zealand to look for work, we can quote you on that accordingly as well. So as Desiree's pointing out there, I've already said it. what I suggest is we draw a line in the sand, and I would say, be it 1 month, be it 6 months. If you haven't found a job in that period of time, then I'm going to be saying to you, John, I did warn you, I need you in New Zealand. You might say to me, well, bugger that, Andrew, let's just go anyway. So let's do the visitor's visa. I want to get over there. I'm happy to go to New Zealand to spend a month or two there to job hunt, and you're allowed. And the irony is you don't have to come back. So you could go over, get the job, remembering it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks to be approved. And in that 4 to 6 weeks, you can find a home, find schools for the children if you've got, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, your spouse and children can follow you over because you can start working in New Zealand after 4 to 6 weeks. Renia, I'm not sure what you do, mate, but yeah, I'm assuming you are skeptical, and I can't read the rest of it. Okay, I'm pretty much finished, guys, so I'm just going to go through a couple of questions while you're there. The diploma in early childhood, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Renia, you need to go. I mean, by the sounds of it, you need to go. But listen, mate, as I've already told you, my consults are free. So drop me an email, andrew@networkmigration.com. Let's have a chat, and let's point you at least in the right direction. Whether you end up using us for certain things or not, it's really up to you. But that's what I'm saying. You've been looking a year. Let me give you some statistics. In 2019, no COVID, we had 242 people fly to New Zealand to find work. 2 failed. 2 out of 242. So you might land, have a job offer in the first week. You might land and not get a job offer to the 5th week. So if you're going to go to New Zealand to look for work, you've got to understand you're not coming home without a job offer. In fact, as I've already mentioned, there's no need to come home at all. You can get the job and stay. So, Kim, usually up to 12 months. Depending on which country you come from, they're a little bit stickly on some countries, but you're usually granted the visitor's visa valid for 12 months. In other words, you've got 12 months to use it, and when you land, it's usually valid for 6 months. But that is also at immigration's discretion. Okay, and if you come from a high-risk country, and most of those countries are in Africa, if you're coming from a high-risk country, it is more likely that your visitor's visa will be declined rather than approved if you do not do it properly. So for God's sake, make sure you do it properly if you're going to do it on your own. Okay? Yeah, Kim, it's from SA. It'll normally grant it to you for 12 months, which means you've got 12 months to use it, and then when you land, you've got 6 months to find work. On average, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and in the I've been doing this for 30 years, remember, and New Zealand has always required you to have a job. On average, it takes 3 to 6 weeks of landing in New Zealand to find work. Yeah. And as Desiree's just saying, guys, I'm going to wind up now because I've already talked for 40 odd minutes. As you can tell, I'm extremely passionate about what we do. I have an incredible team of people that work for Network Migration. I'm blessed to have the quality and the commitment of the team that we have there. Both not only, of course, in South Africa, but in New Zealand as well. I'm often left speechless with the amount of hard work my team do. And you're very welcome, John. You're welcome, Kim. And I'm really proud to be associated with not only my team, but we've had some lovely comments in the last few weeks. Guys, we get the odd bad one. I mean, we're a service industry. We're going to get the odd client that there's always two sides to a story. And if you ever want to know my side of the story, just please contact me. But 99% of the comments that we get on social media are excellent. And I'm really proud of that. And of course, if we get a bad one, we fix it immediately, or we attempt to if we can. Because clearly, service is service, and everybody has their different standards and what you expect. But what we expect is we treat you as a family, as our family, and all we ask you to do is treat us with the respect that we treat you from the beginning to the end. And we will stay with you, whether this takes 1 month or 5 years. We will be with you until you're living in New Zealand, up to and including residency, if you want us to help you with residency. So I want to say thank you very much. Please don't forget to contact us. If you want to contact Desiree, it's Desiree@networkmigration.com. Me is Andrew at networkmigration.com. And it's all at networkmigration.com if you've got any questions or queries. Please do contact us. Let us help you on this journey, at least to advise you. And if you do engage our services, we would be honoured to work with you on this journey. And if you don't, we would wish you all the very, very best anyway. And then, Naflanta, everything that you've heard tonight, can you please put your email on chat? It will be, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but everybody that's listening to this tonight will be getting a recording tomorrow. And thank you, Desiree, for putting in your email address again. And you're very welcome, Zanelle. I want to say thank you for everybody. Des, have a fantastic day in New Zealand. We'll talk to you in the morning, my time. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Rowan, for setting it up as always. And thank you, Desiree, as always, for being the person you are. Stay safe, everybody. We will chat soon.